Why do you think being a good man is all it takes? You've been told your entire life that if you're just nice, if you're respectful, if you're a good person, that the world will reward you, that women will see your heart of gold and fall at your feet, that your boss will recognize your quiet diligence and hand you the promotion. You've followed all the rules. You've held the doors, you've listened to her problems, you've put in the extra hours without complaint. So why are you sitting here, right now, feeling profoundly and utterly alone? Why do you watch the women you desire walk away with men who seem to be your complete opposite? Why do you feel like a ghost in your own life, perpetually overlooked and undervalued? Let me shatter that fantasy for you right now, because it's a lie that is poisoning your soul. The world does not run on goodness. It runs on strength. It runs on value. Women aren't attracted to your intentions. They are attracted to your power. Your boss doesn't care about your effort. He cares about your results. Stop waiting for a prize for participation, because it is never, ever coming. In this video, I'm not going to give you a list of cheap tricks to get a woman's attention. I'm going to dismantle the very foundation of your flawed worldview and show you why your definition of a good man is the anchor holding you at the bottom of the ocean, and what you must become instead to claim the life of respect, desire, and freedom you deserve. This isn't theory. This isn't something I read in a book. This is the fundamental operating system of the world, and once you understand it, you can't unsee it. We need to define the core concept here, because most men are completely lost. They confuse being a good man with being a man of value. A good man, in the way society has sold it to you, is passive. He's agreeable. He avoids conflict. He seeks harmony. His primary directive is to not offend anyone, to be liked by everyone. He's a people-pleaser, a servant in disguise, hoping his servitude will be mistaken for nobility. A man of value, on the other hand, is active. He is driven by a purpose. His primary directive is to live by his code of principles, whether it makes him popular or not. He doesn't avoid conflict, he handles it. He creates his own harmony by building a life that aligns with his mission. He's a king, and his goodness is a deliberate choice, a function of his magnanimity, not a desperate strategy for approval. I learned this distinction in the harshest possible environment, a boardroom negotiation for a company I was acquiring. It was a hostile takeover worth north of $50 million. The other side's CEO was an older gentleman, a classic good man. He was polite, he was reasonable. He spoke about a fair outcome for everyone. My team was advising me to meet him in the middle, to be good, to compromise. But I could smell the fear on him. His company was bleeding money. His goodness was a mask for his desperation. He was trying to be liked. I wasn't there to be liked. I was there to win. Instead of compromising, I stood up, looked him in the eye, and laid out my final, non-negotiable offer. It was brutal. It was far less than he wanted. My own lawyers flinched. The room went silent. The good man in me wanted to soften the blow, to explain my reasoning, to make him feel better. But the man of value, the king, simply stated his terms and held the silence. He stared at me for what felt like an eternity, his face pale. Then he slowly nodded. He took the deal. Why? Because my certainty was more powerful than his hope. My strength exposed his weakness. Women, business partners, the world at large, they don't respond to your requests for fairness. They respond to the undeniable reality of your power. My power in that room wasn't about being loud or aggressive. It was the quiet, unshakable calm that comes from knowing your own value and being completely detached from the outcome. That is the energy that commands respect. That is the energy women are biologically wired to crave. Now, we must dismantle the house of lies you've been living in. We need to burn it to the ground so you can build a fortress in its place. The single greatest mistake you make, the foundational error from which all your failures with women and in life stem, is this. You believe your value is something you must prove. You operate like a salesman pitching a product, desperately trying to convince the customer, the woman, the boss, the world, of your worth. You list your features. I'm a nice guy. I have a stable job. I'm loyal. I'll treat you right. You offer discounts. I'll pay for everything. I'll change my schedule for you. I'll listen to you complain about other men for hours. You beg for the sale with your actions, hoping she'll finally sign the contract and give you the validation you crave. Let's analyze this with cold, hard logic. Attraction is not a conscious choice. It is an involuntary emotional response. When you are in a state of proving, you are communicating from a frame of lower value. You are implicitly saying, I am not enough as I am. Please review my resume and approve of me. This is the posture of a subject, not a sovereign. A king does not audition for the role of king. He simply is the king. His presence, his actions, his entire being radiates an authority that requires no external validation. When you supplicate, you trigger a woman's deep-seated evolutionary instincts for revulsion. A woman's biology is designed to seek out a man who represents security, strength, and superior genetics. A man who needs her approval to feel whole is, by definition, not a source of security. He is a burden. He is a project. He is a black hole of neediness, and her intuition screams at her to run for the hills. She might be polite about it. She might even feel sorry for you, but her body will not and cannot respond with desire. It is a biological impossibility. This is why you see women complain about a lack of good men, and then go home with a confident, borderline arrogant man who barely seems to notice her. It's not that she wants an asshole. It's that the asshole's behavior, however flawed, signals something the good man's behavior does not. Self-possession. He is not seeking her approval. He has his own. His world doesn't revolve around her, and that makes him a challenge, a mystery, a prize to be won. You, on the other hand, have made her the center of your universe before she has done anything to earn that position. You've handed her the keys to your emotional kingdom, and she doesn't even want to visit. Let's paint a picture of this failure in vivid color. Let's talk about Mark. Mark is the quintessential good man. He has a decent job in IT, a clean apartment, and a heart full of good intentions. He meets Sarah at a friend's party. He's immediately smitten. Sarah is beautiful, funny, and a little chaotic. Mark decides he's going to win her over by being the best man she's ever met. When she mentions she's moving, Mark immediately volunteers his entire weekend to help her pack and lift heavy boxes. He sweats, he strains, he even rents a truck with his own money. Sarah is so grateful. Oh my God, Mark, you're a lifesaver. I couldn't have done this without you. Mark's heart soars. This is it, he thinks. She sees my value. The next week, Sarah calls him upset. Her boyfriend, the motorcycle-riding bartender she's been seeing on and off, stood her up again. Mark spends 2 hours on the phone with her, listening, validating her feelings, telling her she deserves better. He's her emotional rock. He thinks, now she'll see the contrast. She'll see I'm the reliable choice. He finally works up the courage to ask her on a proper date. Hikiua plans everything perfectly. A nice restaurant he can't really afford, but he wants to impress her. He buys a new shirt. He gets a haircut. He shows up at her door with flowers. And Sarah opens the door, gives him a hug, and says those soul-crushing words. Mark, you are just the sweetest. You know, you're like a brother to me. In that moment, Mark's entire strategy collapses. He played the role of the provider, the protector, the emotional support system. He did everything a good man is supposed to do, but what he was actually doing was acting as her butler, her therapist, and her father, all without her ever asking. He was a utility, not a romantic prospect. He never created a single spark of sexual tension or intrigue. He was safe, he was predictable, he was boring. While he was busy being useful, she was busy getting her heart broken by a man who made her feel an intense, exhilarating, and often painful cocktail of emotions. Mark didn't understand that women don't want a handyman for a lover. They want a lover. And the currency of love and desire is not favours and servitude. It is excitement, it is challenge, it is polarity, It is the raw, untamed energy of a man who knows his own worth and doesn't need to prove it by lifting a single box. Every man listening to my voice right now has a version of Mark inside of him. It's time to kill him. So we have torn down the old structure. Now we build. The solution is not to become a bad person. Cruelty is not strength. It is a perversion of it. The solution is a fundamental identity shift. Stop trying to be a good man. Start becoming a man of value. It's not about what you do for others to get their approval. It's about who you are from the core outwards. This new identity, this fortress of self, rests upon 3 unbreakable pillars. You must build your life on these, etch them into your mind, and live by them every single day. The 3 pillars of power are: 1. Your mission. 2. Your boundaries. 3. Your polarity. Let's begin with the first and most important pillar. Your mission. A man without a mission is not a man. He is a leaf in the wind, tossed about by the whims of others, desperately trying to cling to something for a sense of purpose. Your mission is your reason for being. It is the grand project of your life that is bigger than any woman, any job, any single desire. It could be building a business, mastering a craft, creating art, leading a community, or achieving physical mastery. The what is less important than the why. It is your personal Everest. It is the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning with fire in your belly. The good man makes a woman his mission. This is a catastrophic error. When a woman becomes the center of your universe, you suffocate her and you abandon yourself. She feels the pressure of being your sole source of happiness, and it repulses her. She knows instinctively that a man whose entire purpose is to please her cannot lead her, cannot protect her, and cannot be trusted to stand firm when the storms of life hit. A man of value places his mission first. This isn't selfish. It is the most generous thing he can do. His dedication to his purpose creates the solid foundation upon which a healthy relationship can be built. His world is vast and exciting, and he is inviting her to join it, not asking her to become it. A few years ago, I was in the early stages of launching a new tech venture. It was all-consuming. 18-hour days were the norm. At the same time, I started seeing a woman who was absolutely incredible. Intelligent, beautiful, captivating. She wanted more of my time than I could give. The old good man programming would have screamed at me to sacrifice my work, to put the mission on hold to appease her. Because what's the point of success if you have no one to share it with, right? Wrong. I knew that if I compromised on my mission, I would resent her, and worse, I would lose the very drive and ambition that made me attractive to her in the first place. I sat her down and was brutally honest. I told her, I am incredibly drawn to you, but for the next 6 months, my business is my absolute priority. You will not be my number 1. My mission will be. You will get the best of the time I have left, but I will not sacrifice my purpose for you. I understand if that's not what you're looking for. It was a huge risk. She could have walked, but she didn't. She looked at me, and I saw a new level of respect in her eyes. She saw a man with a spine, a man whose life had a powerful gravitational pull. She didn't just accept my terms. She was more attracted than ever. Your practical application for tomorrow is this. Sit down with a pen and paper and define your mission. No distractions. What is the single most important thing you want to achieve in the next 5 years? Write it down. Then write down 3 actions you will take this week to move toward it. Your mission is now your North Star. Every decision you make should be filtered through the question, does this serve the mission? The second pillar is your boundaries. A man without boundaries is not a man. He is a doormat. Boundaries are the rules of engagement for your life. They are the non-negotiable lines you draw that define what you will and will not tolerate from others and from yourself. They are the ultimate expression of self-respect. The good man has no boundaries. He thinks saying no is mean. He thinks having standards is selfish. He allows people to be late, to disrespect his time, to cross his lines, because he is terrified of the conflict that enforcing a boundary might create. He would rather be silently resentful than risk someone disliking him for a moment. A man of value understands that his boundaries are the fence around his kingdom. They protect his most valuable assets, his time, his energy, and his peace of mind. He says no clearly, calmly, and without apology, not because he is a jerk, but because his yes is sacred. He knows that people do not respect what they can have for free and without effort. Respect is earned at the point of friction, at the moment you are willing to lose something or someone to uphold your own standards. I had a friend who was constantly borrowing money. Small amounts at first, then larger. He always had a sob story. The good man in me felt obligated to help, but I realized he wasn't just taking my money, he was taking my energy, disrespecting my financial discipline. He was a leak in my ship. The next time he asked, I looked him in the eye and said, "I value our friendship, but I will not be lending you any more money. My answer is no." He was shocked. He got angry, called me selfish. It was uncomfortable. But I held my ground. Our friendship ended. It was painful, but it was necessary. I protected my kingdom. A few years later, I heard he had done the same thing to a dozen other people and was in serious trouble. My boundary didn't just protect me, it was the most honest thing I could have done. Women are masters at testing boundaries. They will test your frame from the moment they meet you, often subconsciously. She'll be a few minutes late. She'll cancel a date at the last minute. She'll make a playful jab at your expense. These are not malicious acts. They are shit tests. She's probing the fence of your kingdom, asking, is this man for real? Is he solid? Or will he crumble at the first sign of pressure? The good man fails every test. He says it's okay when it's not okay. He lets it slide. Every time he does, he communicates that his time isn't valuable and his standards are negotiable. He loses a brick from his fortress wall. The man of value handles it with calm authority. If she's late, he might say with a slight smile, "I was about to leave. I'm glad you made it. Don't make it a habit." He is not angry, but he has communicated the boundary. He has passed the test. Your practical application. Identify one area in your life where your boundaries are weak. Is it with a co-worker who dumps their work on you? A family member who drains your energy? A woman you're dating who disrespects your time? This week, your task is to enforce that boundary. Say no. State your standard. Do it calmly and without anger. Be prepared for pushback. Stand your ground. Feel the power that comes from respecting yourself. The third and final pillar is your polarity. This is the invisible force of attraction, the electricity that crackles between the masculine and feminine. A man who lacks polarity is not a man in the eyes of a woman. He is a friend, a roommate, a brother. He is neutered energy. Polarity is the dynamic tension created by the interplay of masculine and feminine energies. Masculine energy is about direction, purpose, decisiveness, leadership, and presence. Feminine energy is about flow, radiance, emotion, and nurturing. The good man has been taught to suppress his masculine energy. He's been told it's toxic. He's afraid to lead for fear of being called bossy. He's afraid to be decisive for fear of making the wrong choice. He's afraid to create sexual tension for fear of being called a creep. So he neutralizes himself. He becomes passive, agreeable, and accommodating. He mirrors her energy instead of providing a solid pole for her to flow around. He tries to create a relationship with no tension, no risk, and no edge. And in doing so, he creates a relationship with no passion, no excitement, and no desire. A man of value embraces his masculine core. He is not afraid to lead. He makes decisions. When he asks a woman on a date, he doesn't say, "I don't know. What do you want to do?" He says, "Be ready at 8. I'm taking you somewhere you'll love." He creates the plan. He leads the interaction. He's not afraid to tease her, to challenge her, to disagree with her. He creates the sexual tension by being unpredictable, by maintaining a sense of mystery, by using his eyes and his touch to communicate desire instead of just his words. I remember being on a first date. The conversation was good, but it felt like a friendly interview. It was safe, it was platonic. I could feel it drifting into the friend zone. The good man would have just kept talking, hoping to find more common interests. The man of value knows that logic doesn't create arousal. At a pause in the conversation, I simply held her gaze, stopped talking, and let the silence hang in the air for a few seconds longer than was comfortable. Then I gave a slight, confident smile. That was it. That was the entire move. But in that silence, the energy in the air changed completely. It went from friendly to electric. I had stopped seeking her verbal approval and instead created a moment of pure, masculine-feminine tension. I took the lead. I introduced the element of the unknown. Her pupils dilated. She felt it. Polarity is not about being aggressive or macho. It's about being the calm, solid, unshakable center. It's about being the rock to her ocean. Your practical application. The next time you are with a woman, your goal is to lead. Make a decision. Suggest the venue. Lead the conversation. During a moment of connection, hold eye contact for 1 second longer than you normally would. When you walk, gently guide her by placing your hand on the small of her back. These are not manipulative tricks. They are the language of masculine energy. Speak it, and she will understand. Now, I want you to look down the tunnel of time. I want you to see the two roads that diverge from this very moment. Down one path is the man you will be in 10 years if you change nothing. If you cling to your identity as the good man. You're 45 years old. You're sitting alone in the same apartment, maybe a slightly bigger one. You're scrolling through social media and you see photos of Sarah, the woman you helped move all those years ago. She's married now with 2 kids. Her husband is a man who isn't necessarily better than you, but he was bolder. He took risks. He wasn't afraid to lose her. You played it safe, and you lost everything anyway. You're at a job you tolerate, not one you love. You've been passed over for promotions 3 times, always for someone a little more outspoken, a little more confident. You're the reliable guy, the one who cleans up everyone else's messes, but never the one who gets the glory. You feel a deep, gnawing resentment in your gut, a bitterness towards the world, towards women, towards the men who seem to have it all so easy. You did everything you were told was right, and your reward is a life of quiet desperation, a ghost haunting the edges of other people's happiness. The goodness you were so proud of, so has curdled into weakness and regret. That is the price of your inaction. Now, look down the other path. This is the man you will become if you start today, if you build your life on the pillars of mission, boundaries, and polarity. You're 45. You wake up in a home you built, not just with money, but with purpose. The woman next to you is not someone you won, but someone who chose you because she respects the man you have become. She's drawn to your strength, your integrity, your unwavering sense of direction. Your children see a father who is not just good, but powerful, a man who lives by a code. Your business or your career is a reflection of your mission. You are a leader, respected not because you demand it, but because you command it through your competence and character. You have choices. You have freedom. You feel a profound sense of inner peace because your life is not a reaction to the world, it is a creation of your will. You are still a good man, but your goodness is now a choice, not a compulsion. It is a gift you bestow from a position of strength, not a plea you offer from a position of weakness. You are the king of your own kingdom, and that kingdom is prosperous, it is strong, and it is yours. This future is not a fantasy. It is the logical, inevitable consequence of embracing the principles of value and power. The choice of which path to walk is yours and yours alone. And you make it right now. So, let's bring this home. Forget everything you've been told. Stop trying to be the good boy who gets a pat on the head. The world doesn't need more nice guys who are terrified of their own shadow. It needs men of value, men with a mission that burns brighter than their fears, men with boundaries of steel that command respect, men with a masculine core so solid that the world bends to their frame. Stop chasing women. Start building your kingdom. Your mission is the foundation. Your principles are the walls. Your self-respect is the gatekeeper. Build a life of such immense value that high-quality women are naturally drawn to it. Now, this is not a game. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is the only life you have. I have given you the blueprint for the fortress, but you, and only you, can lay the stones. Do not waste another day being the architect of your own mediocrity. The first stone is a declaration. It's a commitment to yourself. I want you to go to the comments section right now and write this sentence. My value is not negotiable. Don't explain it. Don't ask a question. Just write those 5 words. Make that statement to yourself and to the world. It is your first act as the king of your own life. If you are serious about this journey, if you are done with the excuses and ready to do the hard work of becoming a man of value, then subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. The lessons here are not for the faint of heart. They are for the men who are ready to build. The work starts now.